G'day everyone and welcome back to the AFL Fantasy 360 YouTube channel, and in this video I'm going to be going through my Pre-Marsh series best 22 predictions for AFL Fantasy 2020. Now if you are new and you do end up enjoying the video and you want more AFL Fantasy content in the future, please consider subscribing, it means a lot. Anyway, enough rambling, we'll get into it. So in defense, I've got my first player, D1, Jake Lloyd. Now Dawson will affect him a little bit. I understand that, which is why I'm not starting him. But he did average 107 last year. I still think he's D1, although he will have a few points decrease in his average because of Jordan Dawson. My next player that I have at D2 is Sam Doherty. Now, obviously, he missed the last 2 years. I've discussed him in my must-have video. We saw what he did in 2017. I'm not going to ramble on too much about him because we all know how good he is. So I think he can average 105-ish, although he may start a bit slower. My next player at D3, I think, Jack Crisp. Now, he averaged 97 last year, and he's actually a decent pick. Like, he's not selected by many players, so he provided great consistency last year in the second half of the year in particular, but typically he was a bit of a roller coaster player, but he's shown that he can be consistent, and he should average 95 plus again, hopefully. My next player is Rory Laird at D4. Now, he had a bit of a disappointing year in 2019, but he still averaged 96. Like, that's not terrible numbers at all by any means. So he's a safe option, but I would be aware of point sharing. With talk that Gibbs and Miller are going to play off that halfback, I don't know how Laird's going to cope with that unless he gets pushed up to a wing, and I'm not sure how he scores on a wing. So he's someone that I'm not going near at the moment, but look, things could change. My next guy is a very debatable one, and a lot of people are just sitting there thinking, what are you doing? What is wrong with you? But look, I've said this many times, but the inclusion of Frost and Patton, it'll help him so much. He's not going to be a defensive, a key defensive player. He's going to be able to run loose. He's going to be able to take intercept marks, get those +6s. He's shown that he's got a massive ceiling as well. He's not going to be chucked forward now that they've got Patton. Like, he's only 9% owned too, so he's in pod territory, and he's right in my he's at D1 for me in my team right now. So he's one that you definitely have to take the good with the bad, but he's there for me at the moment. And at D6 here I've got Caleb Daniel. He's one I actually owned last year. He was very good with that defender forward eligibility. Obviously he's only defender now. He's got a great roll off the half back line for the Dogs. He's extremely consistent. And he's got a decent enough ceiling for a defender. So his floor is pretty good as well. So I can see him going 95 plus, hopefully. He averaged, I think, 93 this year. So we'll see how he goes there. A couple of guys that are in the mix that were unlucky to miss out. Zach Williams, Tom Stewart, and I've got Dean Houston there as well. I'm not sure if he's going to be up in the top defenders. Hopefully he is. That's why most people have got him in their team. But yeah, we'll have to see about that one. So we'll clear that. So that's the defense. Now we're going to get into the midfielders. So M1, a guy who I'm very bullish on, Jack McRae. He's the complete wow, what's happened there? Complete fantasy package. He does it all. We saw what he did after the bye last year as well. He's got a massive ceiling, 180 pumped out against the Pies, who he has in round 1, by the way. And he's got a decent floor as well. He doesn't he doesn't score very many low scores. He's very consistent. But you just never know with Luke Beveridge what role he's going to play. And Liberatore does affect him as well. So that's McRae. He's definitely one to watch. Obviously, Libba is going to miss round 1 from what I've heard. So he's right in the mix for my team. Now, M2, I've got Adam Treloar. He's a very safe pick. He loves the 6-6 rule, 6-6-6 rule. The Taylor Adams effect actually isn't as big anymore. Like, he used to get affected by him a lot, but for some reason last year, looking through his stats, he really the effect really wasn't there, or as not as much anyway as what it has been in like previous years. Beams out will help him as well. Obviously, he's still dealing with mental health stuff. So yeah, the Pies will be in premiership contention, and he's a solid option. M3, I've got Josh Kelly now. There he is. Josh Kelly, he is a machine if he is fit. If he plays at least 20 games, this is a big call. He's going to win the Brownlow this year. He is that good. He's such a consistent scorer, but injuries are just his major problem. And being an owner last year, it was so frustrating, just with all these soft tissue niggles. But from what I've heard, he's got through a full preseason so far. Knock on wood. But yeah, he's averaging 115 plus easily if he's fit. M4, Josh Dunkley, I absolutely love this bloke. We saw what he did last year. He's a machine. Averaged over 120 post buy. He's a very good player. He's a very good fantasy player. He just fills the stat lines on so many different things. So his scoring though is completely dependent on his role in the team. So if he gets the right role in that midfield, inside midfielder, he's going 110 plus with ease. Like there's no doubt about it. Now, a guy that is very low on this list, and some people would argue that it's too low for him, is Tom Mitchell. Now, um, I'm just concerned with such a big injury that he may start a bit slower. Although he is priced at 90, I think he can still average 110. Like he's very good value. He's a bargain. He's an absolute lock, as I've discussed in my previous video. He's pretty much in full training now too, I think, so he should get early game time in the Marsh series. And yeah, if he gets minutes in the Marsh series, if he looks good, he's playing round one, then absolutely lock him in, and he'll be a top 8 midfielder. Now I've got Canelio at what's this, M6? M6, yep. So he's a great fantasy player, Stephen Canelio. He had some injury-affected games last year, including that 0 that's in his average. As well when he injured his knee. So if you take that 0 out, he actually averaged 111 last year, instead of that 103 that he's got next to his name at the moment. So I think he can go 108 to 110 this year, even with that stacked midfield at GWS. But although he could play some more forward as well, so that's something definitely to keep an eye out for in the Marsh series. A guy at M7 who I don't think is gonna go as well as last year. He should be a top 8 mid again, though. In saying that, he may drop a few points from that 112 average last year. That's purely just due to that stacked midfielder. He could play a little bit forward as well, a bit more forward. They've got so many options in there, and he's one that is very capable, along with Canelio, of going forward. So watch his roll through the Marsh series. And yeah, so my last midfielder, Patrick Dangerfield at M8. Now with Tim Kelly gone, obviously he's going to have more midfield load. Jack Stephen did come in, which is it's going to be interesting to see. He said in an interview that his role will be split mid forward, similar to last year. So we'll have to see how that goes. I think still with that role, he's definitely pushing the top 8 midfielders. But one thing to be aware of, he plays GWS in round 1, which is Matt DeBoer tag territory as well. So that's danger. In the mix, guys who are very unlucky to miss out, Andrew Gaff, he's very stiff. He really should be in this top 8 mix, but just with Tim Kelly, I'm just not sure on him. Got Paddy Cripps, Zach Merritt, and Clayton Oliver. I think Paddy Cripps, just going back to him, I think this could be his Brownlow year. As I said, Josh Kelly, he could be up there as well if he ends up playing 20 or more games. So that's the midfielders. We'll get into the rucks. So not a whole lot to talk about with the rucks, really. It's pretty obvious. Grundy gone. Top 2 rucks. Now, Grundy obviously lock. He's a fantasy. He's a pig. He's a rock pig. I don't really need to say too much about him. I talked about him in my last video. But Max Gawn, he's not a popular starting pick. He's actually only in 10% of teams at the time of recording this, which is just it's just outstanding for a guy that averaged 111 last year. He's entering pod territory. A guy that averaged 111, and look, he's not getting the respect he deserves, I don't think. He had an injury interrupted preseason, or he is having an injury interrupted preseason at the moment. He's got that knee injury, but he's going to play in the March series. Although there is a lot of value in the rocks, he is not getting the respect he deserves, and he's actually a unique pick. I didn't think that would I'd ever had to say that ever have to say that about Max Gorn. Um, but yeah, he is very expensive, and there are a lot of value in the rocks at the moment. So I can see why he's not being picked by many people. Just on the rucks, actually, before I go in the mix, I've got Riley O'Brien there, who I've currently got at R2. I think he can definitely push his average at least 10 points and hit that 105 average solo rucking. Into the forward line now, this is the most difficult position easily. Lockie Whitfield, he's the number one there. He's easily like 15 points ahead of the next best forward. He's a lock. I don't really need to talk about him too much. Everyone should have him in their team. F2, I've got Dusty Martin. Now, he's a superstar. We know what the accolades he got. We know that 2017 season that he did. We know what he did in that season. So, look, the lack of options in the forward line has got him so high in these rankings. And he actually looks like he may have shedded some kilos as well over the off-season. He's come back in great nick. I did see some footage of him running, although he did spend some time running laps away from the main group in the latest training session that the Tigers had. So I'm not sure what that's all about. Maybe something will pop up in the news, you know, in the next few days or something. Or maybe it's just absolutely nothing wrong with him. He's just running some laps. Who knows? So at F3, I've got a guy who I haven't got already put here. Hang on. I just got to get him in. And it's Jack Stephen. Now, obviously he should play good mid time at the Cats. He's been recruited. He's going to replace Tim Kelly there. Although I'm a little bit concerned with his forward time. I think they're going to ease him into his midfield minutes. He's going to slowly up his midfield minutes. I just don't see any value in him if that's the way that they're going to play it. He is a proven scorer though. In the past, he's obviously hit that I think 115 in 2015, which was like 5 years ago. But still, he's proven he can do it. And apparently he's absolutely loving it. He's fit as a fiddle. He had a little bit of a calf issue earlier on in the preseason, but since then, he's been all good. He's been doing full training. Dusty Danger's been hyping him up a lot. So hopefully he can push a 95 average and really push in that top six forwards. And with the options that we've got, I think he can definitely get there. Now, my F4 is currently Michael Walters. I'm not convinced on this pick yet. I think, look, it's purely due to the lack of forward options that he's in here. I think he's gonna be playing a lot of forward time this year. Obviously, that's something we've got to watch through the Marsh series. But I did see something the other day. If that Henry plays that small forward role, it could mean Walters gets some midfield time. Although there's a lot of players in that Freo midfield mix at the moment, a lot of young players, especially. So he's definitely a Marsh watch. But I've got him at F4 at the moment. Definitely could slide down the order though. My next player, I've got Devon Smith. Now, at F5, I'm again not convinced one bit on this pick yet. He's at 720k, which is very expensive for a forward, but so he's 1k less than Dusty, just to put that into perspective, after averaging like 79 last year, which is just he's been training a lot with the forwards, which is what is really concerning for me. But look, if he can get that midfield time, he can easily push that out. We saw what he did in 2018 when he averaged 107, I think it was. Don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% sure, but unless he gets more midfield time, then I don't see him going any more than low 90s at best, which could be enough this year to get you into the top six forwards. And F6 at the moment is Hugh Greenwood. So the reasoning behind this, it is debatable that he's in this top six mix, but look, he's going to get amazing midfield clock at Gold Coast and occasional rest forward. So that's what Gold Coast have said is going to happen with him. So he's going to be in that inside mid. So he's going to be around the ball all the time. He's going to be scoring points. He's a great F3 option, I think, to start the season, at the moment at least. So I can see him averaging low 90s around there, low to mid 90s if, you know, if he can get that midfield time, which I think he will. So he could push for top six forwards as well. In the mix, so guys that are stiff to miss out, I've got Toby Green there. Look, he won't get much mid time, which is why he's not made the top six. But if the injuries do hit GWS again, then he's definitely one you need to consider. I do see him dropping in price a lot at the start of the season because I don't think he will get that mid roll. So, and the other guys, I've got Isaac Heaney, who's obviously having a interrupted preseason at the moment. Wingard from Hawthorn, who I'm not sure about his preseason. I've heard that he's pretty much done everything, but his role is just so unknown. And then Jordan Dawson as well is one to watch for the top six forwards as well. So that's it for the predicted best 22 for the pre-Marsh series version at least. I'll probably do another one of these videos after the Marsh series, just discussing changes and whatnot. So if you enjoyed the video, then don't forget to like and subscribe if you aren't already. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the near future for more AFL fantasy content. Cheers.